Hello everyone, so this is Sai Kiran from Let's Upgrade. I hope that you all guys are here right now. How many of you are here? I just want to know that first thing. How many of you are here, guys? Hey everyone, how many of you are here? Just tell me that one point, then we will 100% take it ahead. So I hope that we are having, okay, 30, 40, 50 guys are here right now. Hey guys, how are you all? Like, you can hear us properly? Can you guys hear us properly? Hello. Okay. Hi. 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 Yes, we are getting now responses. So, yep, I just want to take this whole what we say session ahead right now, along with introducing to our designated guest for today's our whole program. That is industry ambassador of Let's Upgrade is joining us right now. Like now, I would like to start the whole introduction part of so, hello, sir. This is Sai, and we are having today Pankaj Joshi, sir. Pankaj Joshi, sir, is 15 years experience in cybersecurity field, and he's been working with companies like Deloitte largely in his whole career. And he worked with different kinds of like stuff related to cybersecurity and information security. And today, like if at all, you can just go and check search the whole LinkedIn profile. Also, you'll find out like lot many people are like endorsing Sir for his like absolutely beautiful work in the organization. So thanks a lot for like joining us today right now and being here for like sharing your knowledge on enterprise identity management, right? Which we will be having a session today. Now, I would like to just tell about like this whole batch which we are having. So this is a full batch of like cyber security students who are learning cyber security along with us, sir. And these students are like they're having a constitute of like 60% of the college going students and 40% working professionals. So that's the whole mixture. And you will be in a currently you may be seeing like 50 people are live right now, but I am like in the whole as a session progresses, we will be having lot many people coming live, and they will be joining your session. And okay, now one more question like which people are asking me in the chat is, sir, today's attendance is there? Yes, today also there is attendance form. Just go to the description and fill that attendance form, guys, and we will be taking it ahead from there. Okay, so yes, now yes, sir. Now I'm in over to you, sir. Like just let us start the whole session. So in the meantime, we share your screen. Before that, would you like to say some things to our like whole student before starting the session?
Sure. Thanks, Sai Kiran. Before I begin, how much time do we have total?
So we have at least a minimum of how many like time how much how many time you require for delivering this whole session. We can see a time of like 60 minutes, something like that. We can 60 to
Okay,
90
sure.
something.
Sure.
Yep,
So
it's
I'll
totally
keep that in mind and adjust my pace appropriately.
yes,
Right.
yes.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody, for joining the session. I see the count increasing, certainly. And it is great on part of Let's Upgrade to have something in cybersecurity offering without a fee. It is something, we live in a world where sharing information, you have to be very cautious about what you are sharing with anyone, right? These are times when your photographs could be misused versus your name could be misused, and we see a lot of examples. But yes, misuse is one aspect of it without with some not good intent, right? When it comes to good intent, there are many good things that can be done with your information. So uh, Let's Upgrade offering a cybersecurity course for 15 hours free is a great initiative. Wish you all the best running with it.
Thanks a lot, sir.
We will talk about enterprise identity management today. Now,
Yep.
before I get into the topic, right, I would also want to say something like this is a cyber security course, right? And uh, people get attracted to it because we hear the word ethical hacking, or we hear that in news organization got hacked, so and so information was leaked, so much of money was lost, or brand value and reputation was lost. A server was not secured properly, or someone stole credentials, or an employee left the organization but his account was not terminated, right? If you look at the back of it, almost everything of it relates to a password or something of that sort, or a credential, or access not being managed properly. If you had access as one important aspect which you are taken care of, you would have certainly gone and reduced the amount of impact that you had on the organization by these hacks. Can you make the impact zero? Certainly not. You still have the risk. But our whole goal is to reduce the impact so that you can run the organization and be profitable. Identity management is one aspect of securing the organization, right? As an individual, we are focused on not sharing the OTP or not sharing your banking ID or Aadhaar number and protecting your own information. But if you look at the organization who captures this information through to you from you via a form which is on paper or via a website or some other mechanism, they have to manage that information. That's one aspect of it, which is called information protection. Then think about the employees of the organization who have access to this information. How do you protect this information from them, that only the user who has need to see your information can see it, right? That essentially is at a broad level the concept of identity and access management. So how are you managing identities of your customers? How are you managing identities of your uh, employees and contractors and vendors and so on and so forth, right? So going ahead from here, just a disclaimer, this is my opinion and this is not my employer's opinion. So please don't attach my employer's name to this opinion, whatever I am presenting here. We will talk about why is digital identity required and what does it mean uh, when I say the word digital identity. Identity is what I was talking so far. Now I have used the new word digital. We will see how digital identity is to be managed or what are the different components of it. How do organizations see it from inside of it? What is the process and technology perspectives around digital identity? Right. If an organization has to implement identity solution, there are quite a few available in the market. What does it take them to do it? Right. And what's the market all about? And if you ever decide to become a IAM professional, digital identity and access management professional, what should we look for? Today, when I'm sure all of you have bank accounts, right? When you log into bank account, the bank knows about you, not just your username, password, but a lot of your financial details. When you go to a hospital, your medical ID is created, right? You're a patient number there. So the doctor and the hospital knows a lot about you, right? In the hospital, you make a payment using a credit card, so they know your credit card number now. Now look at the aspect of your identity, which is digitally being shared. You have a gaming console at home, you log in there, the gaming console provider knows what games you are playing, right? And what is your score in those games. You book tickets through a travel services provider, or you book tickets through an airline or Indian Railways, wherever you are, right? You are sharing your information with them. Where are you going, from where to when, which date, who's accompanying you, all that is there with them. When you are enrolling in a college or a school, right? They have your information, right? They know your 10th grade scores, they know your 10th grade roll numbers, and so on and so forth. What subjects are you learning? What's your parents' name? What's your Aadhaar number? A lot of other things. When you do e-commerce on common e-commerce websites like Flipkart, Myntra, Jabong, Amazon, you are telling them that you are buying a lot of things, right? And they know your spending pattern, they know your credit card numbers, they know how often you spend time on their screen, just window gazing through their products, right? What you may be interested in. Your telecom providers know a lot about you. Whom are you calling, right? What kind of phone do you own, right? That also tells that how much money do you have in some sense, right? What packages they can offer to you. So your identity is revealed there as well. Social media, of course, a lot of people share, their pictures, what they are doing, the events, you're going on a hiking trip, or I'm presenting a session here, I'll put it on LinkedIn or social media, right? So we are in some way showing a lot what is happening in our lives to all these institutions, whether it is a bank, hospital, a gaming company, or a travel airline, or a college, or an institution, an e-commerce website, our phone service provider, or Facebook, LinkedIn, WhatsApp, whatever it is, right? These are, if they all come together, they will literally know everything and anything about your life, right? What's happening with you. And the two other things which I have not spoken about, which is the enterprise biz and the business aspect of it, right? That is something what we will talk about it. That when you are giving all your information to these institutions, right? They are ultimately a business, right? They are an organization. Right? So, um, how do these organizations manage all of this to protect your information is what we will talk about today. Now, again, from organization perspective, right? They have their employees, of course, whom they pay like they are on payroll. There are contract workers who come and work there. There are partners and customers. For example, when you go to a car uh, showroom and buy a car, it may not be the company's owned showroom, right? It's a partner who's selling cars. So they log in into the car manufacturers' websites. You have handheld devices. I spoke about phones, right? You have wearable devices. You have iWatches and these Fitbits and whatnot, right? Which on which you log in and provide your information. They also collect your sensitive information about your heartbeat or blood pressure, how much are you walking, and all of that. In cars now, vehicles, you can log in so that the car can customize the experience and understand who's the driver. Right? Printers also, a lot of times now you can do web printing, right? There are cameras and assets and CCTV cameras, etc. There is a lot which is there in an organization. And then finally, I would want to touch upon privileged accounts, who are the administrators in these organizations, right? Let's Upgrade offers a course on automation and robotic process automation and RPA, right? These RPA bots also have some sort of access to the information which is there about the consumers or about the product in the organization. So there is this amount of information, if you see it from an enterprise perspective, which needs to be protected and it's spread across. Now, as a user, you have your first name, last name, your unique identifier like your passport number, your driving license number, Aadhaar number, date of birth. If I combine all of that together, I am able to identify you uniquely, that this one individual is the one who has this combination. Now, when you log into several websites, you use a password. So that is something that you know, right? Then at times, if you have noticed these days, your bank cards, credit cards have a little chip embedded on it. Even driving licenses have these. That is something you possess. That if I show this driving license or this credit card, it's a physical device that I have, which is kind of a credential. I'm saying I'm giving it to the uh, point of service person in a store who can deduct money from my credit card account. And then there is something you are, which is your iris scan, your fingerprint, everything that, when you enrolled for Aadhaar, you would have given your iris scan and thumbprint. That is something you are, and it doesn't change in whole of your lifetime, right? So that those are the credentials which you use to get into a system and access information. This is part of your identity. Don't consider your identity as just first name, last name, your passport number, or your date of birth, right? When you get into an organization as an employee, consider a clerk in a bank, a teller who sits at and dispenses cash, right? Then he has a role of a teller, right? He sits in a specific branch in a specific business unit, which is banking, and it sits in the Bangalore Central Place branch, right? And then he has a manager and supervisor. So those are your identity attributes with respect to your employer relationship. Then you further get into the software which you are logging into as an employee. For example, when the teller logs into the core banking application, then he can only do certain type of transactions with certain limits, that he can only dispense cash from savings account with the limit of 10,000 rupees. Beyond that, the teller has to go and seek approval from another person, right? So teller is the maker of the transaction, and another person who approves the transaction becomes checker of that transaction. So signature verification, what you signed on that paper, the withdrawal form gets verified twice, right? So within the application also where you are, you have permission levels and you have access control items. So from an organization perspective, this whole thing together makes your digital identity. It's not, again, re-emphasizing it, it's not just your username and password, which is your identity. There is a lot to it within the enterprise. Now, how should organization manage your digital identities? Uh, from an organization perspective, it is important that they know who are you, right? So you get into any software, whether it is the consumer applications that you use today, or when you are working somewhere, you log into that company's software, right? They first need to know who are you. You have to prove that, and that piece is called authentication, right? And this authentication, from your perspective, you are a human being, so you prove through a username or password or the other things that I spoke about, providing a card which you possess or doing a thumbprint scan, and you are authenticated to into a software. So you are essentially proving who you are to that organization. Other part of it, you should also think about systems or softwares which interact with each other. They also have to prove to each other who they are, right? Because any other software just can't log in into another company's software and steal information. So that happens through cryptographic certificate exchange. You are doing a cybersecurity course. I think you all understand how certificates work. So then devices interact with each other. So there also one device has to prove to the other device who that device is, and unless you are enrolled, that communication should not happen. So who you are essentially is very important in first aspect of identity management, to prove yourself. Now once you have proven who you are allowed access. But what can you do is the right part. What can you access, right? So once you get into a software, you are able to do certain things. When you log in into Facebook, you are able to put things only on your profile page, right? You can tag your friends, but they always have the right to remove that tag. So that's some sort of access management system being put in place there. So what you can access is also called authorization, that you are authorized to do certain things, and who you are is authentication. So this is a very important concept in enterprise identity management, that who you are is proven by authentication, and then what you can do is proven by authorization. How does a identity enter an organization, and then how is it retired? So if you look at the whole life cycle that's shown on the screen, there are steps 1 through 6 here. You are first on board into the organization, which means when the interview process is complete and all that happens, your background check happens, right? Now that's essentially credentialing and proofing that, okay, the person who's coming here is coming with the right intent, and he has this credential, he's the right person that we interview. Then your name is entered into a HR system somewhere, and onboarding happens, which means when you first day when you go, your account credential is given to you. Your account perhaps is also created in the organization systems like Active Directory, or for email there is Microsoft Exchange at a lot of places. Right? They have some internal communication software like Skype for Business is there, or Teams or Link or Zoom. So they create your user identity in those applications. So you have been on board successfully in the organization, and that's where the relationship begins. As you continue working for this organization, right, proofing is the concept that I spoke about earlier. Proofing in terms of who you are. Uh, Now, if you take it from a consumer perspective, if someone has applied for a loan, the consumer's identity is first created in the loan management system, and the loan management system then checks the financial stability of the consumer. So a rating that CRISIL provides, that okay, this individual has a good rating of 700, 800, a loan can be dispensed, right? So identity proofing is another aspect of it. Then Authentication, I explained earlier slide as well that your identity is verified at every moment when you get into a new software. At certain points, if you are doing something critical, you have to provide a OTP, right? We all are familiar OTP in this world of phones, right? Unless you give a OTP, the transaction doesn't move forward. Now that OTP is called second factor of authentication, and that is also part of authentication and verification, right? So you started your journey with the organization, your the life cycle started here, it was proved, then authentication and authorization went through the whole time that you were in that organization, you got promoted, right? So your rights should change now. Certain applications which you have access now should be removed. You should be provided access to new applications, or in existing applications, your access has to change. So steps 3, 4, and 5 continue for the whole duration you are with the organization. And after that, when one day you decide to leave the organization, then your access must be revoked the last day, when the last working day you are leaving the organization. So this conceptually is the life cycle of the identity in from an organization's perspective. Now, if you look at it from a cybersecurity perspective, revoke access is a very important process for the organization. If the access is not revoked in time, that's when it can be misused as a vulnerability, and a hack can be done using this access. Govern access is another important aspect of it. There was a fraud that happened in Europe with a Swiss bank, where an individual who joined as a reception clerk or a receptionist over the time got promoted and was given access to do trades and move money across trading accounts, but the previous access was not terminated. So this individual was able to create fake visitors because he had access to the reception visitor management system. He could make fake customers, and then he could move money from existing customers' account into those fake customers and withdraw that money. Now, this is a classic problem of govern access. We could do all sort of vulnerability access penetration testing, firewall proofing, system hardening, but you will not be able to stop those frauds unless you do govern access properly. So that's an important aspect of cybersecurity, right? So revoke access, grant access are just two examples. When it comes to cybersecurity, in each of these six life cycle management steps that we see, if you don't do that step properly, it impacts some way or the other. If you don't onboard the employee properly or the contractor properly, you may end up giving him excess of rights, or uh, you may waste time that he's sitting idle for 15 days before he can do anything productive. So you are just giving him salary for 15 days. So what has happened over the time is that governments across the west and east have sit together. There have been consortiums which have been formed, that how do we manage cybersecurity in a effective way, right? So one such entity or body is NIST. You can Google NIST and figure out more about it. Essentially, NIST talks about controls which must be put on your people, process, and technologies to protect the information that you are handling. So, how do you identify information in terms of your assets, right? From cybersecurity perspective, your assets are your switches, your firewalls, your intrusion detection systems, right? So, have governance and risk management strategies. That's identification. Then, how do you protect your assets? We are talking of access control, which is where identity management falls. There are other aspects of it. How should you make your uh, employees and users of your systems aware that you should protect information? So awareness and training, data security. So these are protective controls. Then there are detective controls. Cyber security, VAPT, vulnerability assessment, is a type of detective control, because you are trying to detect vulnerability in systems which can be fixed before anyone else could misuse it. When a disaster happens, how will you respond? A disaster with respect to cyber security, we've heard a lot of them in the news. So you should have controls with respect to how will you respond, how will you communicate to the outside world, how will you analyze what went wrong, how will you mitigate the whole thing, and how will you improve and come back and recover and bounce back into the business. So that's the last part of recover. So there are many such frameworks. ISO has them. Um plenty of those in the market, right? But essentially they will revolve around the theme that you should have detective, preventive controls, and then you should be able to identify what information you have, how should you protect them in case an incident happens, how should you respond to the incident, and how should you recover out from the incident. So coming back to identity management, now why should an organization do identity management? Now that we understand what it means, right? One important aspect of it is to mitigate cyber risk. And I have spoken more than enough on this, that if you have a proper identity management system in place, you will be able to mitigate the risk. Again, you cannot make it zero. If someone comes at a malified intent and is your employee, he has access, he will be able to do something wrong, right? Then there is the aspect of IT complexity and cost efficiency. So if you have a IAM system in place, and you onboard your employee properly the very first day, you are saving a lot of money. If you have self-service password reset, instead of the employee calling and saying my password is not correct, can you help me reset my password? That wastes a lot of time and money. But if you give self-service password reset, then you save a lot of money by cost efficiency is another aspect of it. Uh, Governments have become smart and intelligent. They force the organizations to have control enough, and they want to comply to them. So a few controls are mentioned on the screen: SOC, SIPA, ITGC, global data privacy related stuff. And there are big fines, especially organizations who have public equity, right, who have stocks in the market, if they don't comply to these regulations. So regulatory compliance is a very, very big aspect of organizations embracing identity and access management. User experience is yet another aspect of it. So single sign-on, right? For the same organization, you have single sign-on where you once give your user ID password, and then you are not asked for password again unless you are doing something critical. So it ties up with your Active Directory user ID. If you do something critical, you are asked for a second factor like a OTP or a RSA secure ID token or something else which proves that you are the same person, right? So user experience also is enhanced. You don't waste punching your password again and again. It has been seen that if you keep the password too complex, what the user would do is write it on a piece of paper and stick it on the screen, right? So you don't want that to happen as well. So user experience, the way I put it is that the control that you put, whether it is authentication or authorization or something else, should not interfere so much through the user that the user may want to bypass it. So user experience is a key aspect in identity management. Again, digital transformation. You see a lot of things going in this space in at the moment. In the current COVID pandemic scenario, a lot of workers have moved working from home, right? Social media is again something that is transforming digitally. Your ability to be able to book a car or Uber or Ola or something else from a phone is a digital revolution, right? The whole time of cloud technologies. If you think of all of these systems, all of them have identities, and they must be managed properly. Otherwise, there is loss of data and loss of credibility that happens. So there are various aspects which an organization will have to see on why do they want to implement identity and access management systems. Now, how do I get and put a structure to this whole chaos? I have spoken a lot about identity management, but how do I see and categorize these different areas, right? There is one aspect of identity governance, which talks about identity lifecycle, the slide that I showed, how you onboard and proof and then authenticate, authorize, and then finally revoke the access. So you should do it for your human as well as non-human identities, right? So your bots as well in this case. Segregation of duties, the example that I gave on maker and checker, right? So conflict of controls should be managed properly. Uh, Access recertification is a concept where the manager or the business owner is periodically asked, let's say every 3 months, which is a quarter, or every 6 months or a year, that this user who reports to you has this specific access in this application, please certify. And if the manager doesn't certify, that access is revoked because it may not be necessary or it is more than necessary. Password management is another aspect of it. Role management is yet another aspect of identity management where we look at not giving direct access but creating roles and then assigning access. It deserves one full separate hour of discussion on that, right? Software license management is another aspect of it. So all this is something we call as identity governance related processes. Coming down, we spoke about authentication and authorization, but this more talks about single sign-on and federation. So when you have options where you can use your Google IP to log into another third-party website, that concept is called federation, right? Because Google then becomes your identity provider, and the website which you are accessing is the service, or and so that organization is your service provider. So there are whole set of processes which need to be taken care with respect to single sign-on, access management, and federation. Consumer identity, of course, is very, very important. I gave a couple of examples around Facebook or LinkedIn or WhatsApp, etc. So there are these social identity providers who are very much into consumer identity management. Identity proofing, we touched upon this concept in some form where it is physically, or what you know, or what you are, or what you have. These three type of things are used to proof you. This is also required in case of financial controls, right? That what is your financial credibility. So that's another aspect of proofing. And this requires intervention from global data privacy regulations, right? So GDPR, what I spoke about earlier. So consent of the user is necessary, that I'm collecting your personal information. The user must be enrolled to that system, and then how analytics are done on it. Privileged identity management is another aspect of it. I do see a question coming on the chat that talk about privileged identity. So your administrators have the keys to the kingdom, right? If you look at Linux, Unix, the root account knows everything and can do anything on that system, right? So how do you protect the actions being performed by these accounts? And indeed, root is a shared account because root is not an individual, right? This account is owned by someone in your organization, and it can be used by others also. So how do you manage these privileged accounts? How do you vault the credentials? As in, there are specific privileged identity management systems, another big topic for an hour perhaps, or more than that, where the credentials are stored in a central vault. The user of the credentials checks out that credential, performs an action. The whole action performed is recorded, whether it is on a command line or a screen, and that record goes into a log, and the credential is again checked back into the privileged identity management system. So this is a big area, very, very focused, especially in financial services industry, in healthcare industry, where privileged identity management is very, very important. And here we also look at user behavior analytics from a privileged identity perspective, that if the user is, for example, logging in midnight, but his usual business hours or working hours is 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Then why was that happening? That's just an example. There are so many other ways. A user doesn't typically log into a system, but today logged in. Why has the user logged in? An alert must be raised and it must be monitored. So that's the aspect of privileged identity management. Cloud is something which is in the boom now. So, cloud identity governance, which means identity for the cloud and identity inside the cloud, both concepts apply there. How are you creating users inside your cloud service provider accounts? And from that perspective, that is identity in the cloud, but for the cloud also matters a lot. I touched upon RPA. There's another aspect of DevSecOps where we talk about CI/CD, continuous integration, continuous development. So that is an aspect which identity deals with a lot. When you have to do secure code reviews, you have to integrate with your DevSecOps system. So from an organization perspective, there are 6 important areas in identity management. If you do them properly, you should be able to mitigate cybersecurity risk, reduce the amount of success for a hacker to be able to get into your organization. I know it's bombarding information, but I would just want to cover a lot of information with you first, and then get into specific identity management systems which are available in the market. So essentially, uh, to sum it up, whatever I have spoken about, there are different type of identities for an enterprise, right? You have employees, contractors, vendors, customers, then you have mobile devices, you have wearable devices, you have different interfaces into hardware and software systems, you have bots. All these must access the software, the platforms, physical assets, network devices, SaaS platforms. So there is a lot of resources which must be accessed. And the six category areas that I spoke about are necessary to be managed. So all these tie together with the information that you have available in the organization. How should an organization look at identity and access management? First is they have to envision, put a strategy around it, right? So they have to plan, understand what are their current processes around IAM, what do they want to do around IAM, then do a gap analysis, what is the gap between the current state and the target state, build a strategy, and finally do a product and cost evaluation, and come to the center of the slide where they can implement a IAM solution. It is sometimes a 4 months project, sometimes a year and a half project, sometimes it runs for 3 years, 4 years also. And while all of this is going on, you also have to maintain your identity and access management system. So there are three important aspects from a technology perspective: that you have to plan that technology, you have to implement that technology, and you have to maintain that technology. These are some of the leading identity management products. Given the paucity of time today, we may not be able to demo anything, but each of these products have been there. Uh, some are new, some are there for a while. SailPoint Identity IQ deals more with the access certification thing that I spoke about earlier. Savient is a governance product around segregation of duties, the maker checker concept, which I spoke about. Okta is a single sign-on platform for federation of related stuff. CyberArk is a privileged identity management platform. ForgeRock is a consumer identity management platform. Then you have these cloud service providers like Azure. Amazon is not on this list, but they have their own identity management software. Beyond Trust is a privileged identity management platform. Then there is IBM, the name that a lot of us know. They also have their identity governance access management platform. Oracle has its own platform. Now, this is just representative here. There are plenty of IAM products available in the market. Organizations have to see what is their requirement and what should they purchase, because there is also cost aspect attached to it. How can you become an IM professional? As college going students, this is an interesting aspect for you, that can I become IM professional? For working professionals, can I move myself into the IM career? Certainly you can. One aspect is you may require coding skills. You don't have to be a hardcore developer, but you should be able to understand that if a code script is given to you, you can read it and see what is going on there, what is trying to be solved. You don't have to build software, but you have to implement software. You have to integrate software from one application to another. So you should have a knack for coding, not necessarily be a coder. You should be having some knowledge about processes, workflows. If you can manage the flow charts, there is a little icon that shows here, flow charts are there. If you understand how networks interact with each other, how IP moves from one place to another, how subnets are created, that is helpful but not necessary. Project management skills, because these are run as projects. And then product skills is something which you get trained yourself on, whether in the organization or outside. So it is a combination of these type of skills. What can you be in a career in identity and access management? You can just talk about IAM processes the way I'm talking about today, right? A business analyst. You can be an IAM developer who can develop a custom module, integration between one application and another. You can be an IAM architect who can talk about how software should be implemented, how many applications can be integrated to it, right? And how they will work, how data will flow from one application to another. You can just be a project and program manager. You can be a GRC specialist, which goes more into the industry that I should understand banking or manufacturing so that I can talk about the process and concept with respect to that industry. Or you can just be a support person who can help in password resets or who can help with assigning more roles to the users. So that is something which identity management can offer you. Over the time, as you gain this experience, there are other aspects of cybersecurity and information security which will sum up together for you to become a more stronger, more resilient cybersecurity professional. Okay, so that was me. I know it was too much information packed in 40 minutes, but now it's your turn. When in doubt, you must shout, of course, and ask your question. So over to you, organizers. If, do we look through questions through YouTube chat or there is another mechanism? Any questions?
Shit, I was muted till this much time. I was talking and I was like mute. Hey guys,
Okay.
hey guys, your all questions, like please put it across right now. So one of the question is, can you show some light on CASB? One of the question is that.
CASB, CASB. Okay. Uh, when it comes to enterprise systems, cloud access security broker is an important aspect. It typically falls under, if I look at probably this screen, right? You look at how will you protect your information. Now, information protection is a larger topic, but one aspect of it is when the information is stored somewhere on a database, how do you protect it? When it is moving around, right, in transit, how do you protect it? And yet another aspect to it is that when someone has access to this information, can they share it without the need of it? So cloud access security broker is something, it sits in between, that you just cannot pick up any enterprise information and put it on your Google account or put it on YouTube, right? So it is that layer that sits in between which will provide that protection to the organization, right? It combines again with your endpoint protection systems, the information protection aspect of it, where a little piece of software sits on your organization's laptop, the laptop that organization has given you. So if you try to load something to your Google Drive, it will sit in between and prompt you, you can't do this action, right? Because this may be some proprietary information or some confidential information which you are trying to move out of the organization. And alert goes to the central administrators, which ties up to the whole security incident event management system. So if you are frequently loading files to Google Drive, which is not your organization's Google Drive, they will come and question you. So that's the whole concept around cloud access security program.
Thanks a lot, sir, for that. And now, hey guys, now I'm unmute. Okay, so now the people are mentioning it in the chat. Say unmute, unmute. I was like talking this much, and I was like, oh, everything mentioned this. Okay, so the next question is, sir, is programming required for I am? Can I become like I am without identity access management guy without programming?
You can certainly become a IM guy without programming. However, you will only remain a business analyst in the terms that you will be able to guide on the process, but you may not be able to go and do technology or talk technology, right? What I mean by that is all the concepts that I spoke about, right? Uh, when you go to the customer's place, customer will say, I have 50,000 employees. Now put me some IAM process around it. So you will be able to say that, okay, for your joiners, this is the process that how it should be, right? When a person joins, the user should be created in a disabled state on Saturday or Sunday, so that Monday when the joining happens, you can just enable the account and give the password to the manager who can give it to the user, or you can just SMS the user ID and password to the user's phone number, right? Now you are doing process consulting. So you are an identity management functional analyst or a process analyst, the hexagon that you see on the top. And uh,
Okay, sir.
this is a more intense role in the industry. So in healthcare industry, for example, if you go to a pharma organization who do drug trial and drug research, right? We are all hearing about COVID vaccines now. So how are identities managed in that software, right? There is a nurse who administers the vaccine, there is a patient or a trial person who takes the vaccine, the doctor is there, the researcher is there. Now if you are in that industry, then you will understand that industry's processes more. Then if you are in banking industry, then the processes are a lot different there. So if without development, you will focus more on the process aspect of it.
Got it, sir. Got it. So now, next question here about is like, please give us a short note about cybersecurity. What is the knowledge required, like CISSP? Like someone is asking, what is this whole CISSP all about, and how to
Sure.
prepare certification?
Yeah. So you don't see much of cyber security degrees to say in the industry at this point of time, right? In at least in the Indian scenario. Yes, there are colleges which offer specialization or masters in information security, cyber security. But since this domain has been existing for maybe over 2 decades now, there are professional bodies and organizations which have come up to give certifications in the market, right? It's like if you are a hacker, you do certified, CEH as a certification. Now, generic for information security, there are a couple of certifications. One of them is CISSP, Certified Information Systems Security Professional. I am a CISSP since 2006, right? It
Oh,
is a certification by organization called ISC Square. ISC2.org is the website. It gives you a vendor independent view of information security, and it evaluates your expertise. So you are not attached to any cybersecurity provider, vendor, or a technology, but it will give you the base of cybersecurity. There are 10 domains into it. Starts with assessment, then there is access control, cryptography. It also talks about systems benchmarking. It talks about cyber laws and legal, which is another important aspect of it. So CISSP is a very broad certificate which makes you kind of a specialist in information security in all areas, right? Then you would pick up one area and then you specialize in it. In my case, for example, I took up access management, access domain as one aspect from, if you look at the CISSP, the whole syllabus of it. And I am specializing in identity and access management. There are another certifications like CISA. You might have heard that name, or CISM. They are from a body called ISACA, and they focus more around cybersecurity or information security audits. So CISM stands for the master's certificate, which is the advanced, and then a CISA is the audited certificate of it. There are plenty of those. CEH, of course, you know about it.
yep. So now the next question here is, how is the job market for IAM as compared to SOC?
Both are hot. Let me put it that way. Security Operations Center, the job profiles are different. If you are an identity management professional, you are looking at the controls aspect of it. Identity management most of the times is a preventive controls, right? So you are implementing a identity management system. You are integrating with ERPs or financial systems or core banking applications or social media applications together, and helping the organization as a cybersecurity framework or information security framework. You are picking up those detective controls and implementing there. Now, Security Operations Center, SOC, is more of a detective control, in the sense what is happening on the network at this point of time. A lot of users are logged in, information is flowing in. uh, you are monitoring that, and you are relating that flow and that current trend of flow, right, with the feeds provided by various security providers. For example, McAfee and Semantic provide feeds on who's attacking whom at a global level scenario, that from X country attack originated, it is terminating on Y country. Is it happening in your industry? And if you are in that industry, then how should you react to it? Or there is a DDoS attack being simulated on your organization's router, right? So SOC is that type of job where you at times will get into immediate incident response. Attack is happening now, I must stop now, right? It's that kind of job. Identity management is more of a preventive control. So these are two different job profiles. Both are hot now. Given the number of news items that you have heard around systems being broken into, IAM will help proactively prevent those systems, and SOC is something which you keep monitoring in your place.
Yes, sir, got it. So now we will take, I mean, like finally two other questions. Then afterwards, okay. Now one of the person S Ranjan is asking very much in the whole chat. Can I join cybersecurity and ethical hacker while pursuing my diploma? Yes, 100%. I think you can get into this skill, upskilling yourself there. Give some scope idea of I am an industry and for college student as a fresher. Okay, I mean, I think sir has spoken about it already, guys. I mean, as a what we say, engineering grads and all, you can 100% get into this IAM certifications and all, and that would be taking it to you there. Now, one more, I think, sir, sensible question is here. IAM is different product. Okay. Hmm. One of the like question which Adhan Sheikh is asking, sir, can you please explain the roadmap to become I am like expert or like getting into IAM?
Mhm. Uh, Currently, I don't believe there is any academic institution which will offer identity management as a subject, right? While they will talk about access control as a subject in general, right, and controls as a general, identity management is a very specialized subject, and it's a niche area, lot in demand. Very few expert professionals are available, right, and people who are experts generally are very few. So it's a niche area in some sense. Now, how do you pick up IM as a college grad? Uh, One way to do it is during your college. It is good that if you get, if you think you want to be IM professional, pick up a project on identity and access management. Um, Speak to one of your placement coordinators, and they can connect you with these cybersecurity firms like the ones that exist in the market. If you have placements there, do projects with them and learn an identity management tool during that time. In most cases, when campus placements happen, you get into an organization who deal with identity and access management services, you will start with the IAM boot camp, and they will start with ABC of IAM. That these are the different processes, these are the different technologies, and you will start picking up one technology at a time, right? Um, for example, organization will conduct a boot camp on SailPoint Identity IQ or Savient Access Manager. So you will learn that technology, you will also learn the process. Now, once you know the process, technology implementation is not a big deal. With the same process knowledge, you can explore another product like ForgeRock. So you have, if you've covered user lifecycle management, then pretty much if you know one product, the other product may be easy to handle. Uh, Over the time, you have to learn more products. You have to take control, or you have to know about different areas within identity management, the six areas that I spoke about, right? Cyber security, identity management, governance, or privileged identity management, or cloud governance, access management, proofing. So there were six areas that I spoke about. You will have to slowly pick up area by area wherever you get an opportunity, and know the basics of that, and then be able to architect solutions in that area, be able to offer advice to your clients. And that's how your career will progress. So you will perhaps start as a consultant, where you are doing some small time coding gigs, or you will not be able to do a process analyst job because you don't know what that process is. So you will be asked to do small time workflows, that this is the process client has given us, uh, get into this IAM system, prepare this workflow. And then you can make custom adapters. You will become an architect. Over the time, you will progress, and then maybe you touch upon a governance, risk, compliance as another IAM area. So it takes years. A good IAM professional who has touched all the areas, I would say, would be at least 8-10 years, after which you will say that, okay, I know this domain with some confidence.
Okay, sir. So now we have like one final question which you can take for the day is, which is for the freshers or like for even the people who are starting their career, who want to start their career in cybersecurity, which is the entry level certification you would suggest that they should be like getting into this certification, like Compatia is there, or is it what we say? You have mentioned like lot many other certifications. Which one you would suggest them to like go ahead with in the very entry level thing?
So look at it at a higher level. A certificate serves two purposes. One is
Yep.
knowledge, other is a credential on your resume, right? Uh, for a beginner, I know there is CompTIA and those kind of certificate. Again, cybersecurity is a very broad topic, right? I touched upon identity and access management. This course that is being run here is about cybersecurity. One aspect of it is more focuses on network penetration testing and such aspects of it. There is the other aspect of governance, risk, compliance. There is aspect of security operations, which was asked in a question. There is aspect of incident management. There is aspect of information security policies and procedures, right? So which area do you want to get into? And then you will have to choose a certificate appropriate to it. If you are looking at CEH, yes, it's a great beginner certificate, right? But it will take you into the VAPT, vulnerability assessment, penetration testing type of specialty and skill. If you are looking at CompTIA, Security Plus, and those kinds of certifications, those are like stepping certifications to get into information security as a domain at a functional level. CISSP
Got it.
is very advanced. You need a minimum of 50 months of experience. Before that, even you can enroll for a CISSP course.
Got it. Got it. So one that's it, sir. So like I think we can wrap up our like our Q&A session also, and we can I think end. Okay, few people are like messaging up a lot of questions. Okay, one final thing we can take up: how much time will one require to learn cyber security to get a paid internship? I think, guys, I mean, you should not be looking for a paid internship or something like that. You should be looking into what how much time I should be spending, what all skills I should be learning to end up into one of the job roles, right? That should be our end motive. So, yes, would you like to speak something about this?
Okay, I see another question flashing, which is about, can I do job as a cybersecurity officer after my diploma? See, a cybersecurity officer is a
Yes,
much
yes,
senior role. It is called Chief Information Security Officer, CISO. You would at least need to be like somewhere between 10-15 years of experience before you can become a CISO. A cybersecurity
yes, yes.
officer deals with multiple aspects of information security, and has his neck on the line to say for any incident that happens, right? They are responsible for the whole thing. So you need to have a coverage from all aspects of information security and cyber security to be able to become a CISO. You're too early that if you are doing a diploma and aiming for a direct CISO job.
Yes, yes. Got it, sir. So, I just would like to take this whole, what we say, hey guys, I think we will be now ending up our Q&A session. You all can, I mean, reach out to us in our all telegrams and in our community. Let's upgrade of like runs a full community there. You can reach out and our moderators will be taking up that questions and asking sir in person, and they will be replying back to your, all the queries over there. Okay. So thanks a lot, all the students who are there here. Now I would like to just take this privilege to thank Pankaj sir, thanks a lot for your time and effort. Like you were like what we say, just on this Sunday, just after like Ganpati season, it is right now, and at this short amount of like notice time that yes, sir, we will be like arranging one session. You have been like made yourself available. Thanks a lot for that, sir. And we will be like having you as one of our industry ambassador with Let's Upgrade even going forward for all these students who had joined us today, and further who are gonna join our all the programs. Taking suggestions from you and your whole experience, we will be doing lot many of other additions into this. And yes, now I would like to request all the students. Hey, students, just please out of like 1 to 10, please shout your numbers. Right? How much informative this whole session was. I mean, I think you all have enjoyed this, right? Now, I just want your all feedbacks in real time for sir also to be cheered up. And yes, like sir had invested 1 hour of time for you all guys. So hey guys, every one of you, just please, this is what they will now fully spam the chat right now with all their numbers and all 1 out of 1,000, like thousand they will be. Yes, so that's what it is. Thanks a lot, sir, for being here with us today and going live along with us. It's totally 1 hour right now. Our timer also shows it's 1 hour. You have like took Sir's time. So thanks a lot. So we'll be like looking forward for other sessions also like going ahead into other different domain areas where you have been expertised. So okay, so now we'll be wrapping up the session.
Yep. Thanks. Thanks. It was a pleasure being here once again. Being in a classroom, although virtually,
Yes,
reminds me
yes.
of my college days. Thank you, Sai Kiran, and thanks the Let's Upgrade team for making it happen. All the best, folks.
Thanks a lot, sir. Thanks a lot. Okay. Okay, guys. Bye bye. Take care. Have a nice day and fill up that what we say your attendance forms and all. So it is very much important for you all guys to get your certifications. And one more thing, I hope that sir, you had an amazing time along with sir. So thanks a lot. Bye bye. Take care. Have a nice day.